Sonya.
Red Sonja, a character from both film and comic book. Except in 2025, something seems to be missing. And this is no surprise when you find out how this movie got developed. In fact, it seems inevitable. The movie has been in development hell for almost 20 years at this point, going through various different directors, creators, including Joey Soloway, previously called Jill Soloway by the Mary Sue, who would be the first NB director of a comic book movie. Pride, excellence. At that moment, you kind of knew what they were going for. Even Kotaku, when it comes to the trailer, says there is perhaps quite a lot of, but she's doing it even though she's a girl energy.
I like this one. Very, very feisty.
And wherever you go to look up about this character, there is constant complaining about how, in the wrong hands, she's a one-dimensional caricature of an archaic male fantasy. You know. The audience. Don't worry though, the audience, the target demographic, has absolutely nothing to do with the creation of this movie.
I will do what damage I can.
You know what, Red? You are quite the woman.
Is there any recovering this though? Maybe the trailer has some incredible scenes, some hope for the future. I mean, there must be some reason why they chose this actress. Angelina Jolie was perfect for Tomb Raider. There are a nigh on infinite supply of people that could have also filled out the body of Red Sonja, but without those talents, maybe she's got some other ones hidden away. What about her acting?
And grant me the power to find those who did this.
No, she seems to be hiding that talent quite well as well. I mean, this is through the entire trailer.
To see my people again is all I dreamed of.
Come on, dude, it can't be that bad. At least find me some good acting in the trailer.
You and all of your kind are relics from the past. I am the future.
No one meant of Sonya, you useless piece of Well, at one point, there was going to be a different leading actress, Hannah John-Kamen, who was great in Killjoys, featured in a lot of fight scenes, and can definitely fill out a dress. There's absolutely no danger of that when it comes to the new Red Sonja. In fact, the poster of it really just screams, why even bother?
You can have this and these.
And that protects.
Nothing. The crowd will love it.
I'd love to know what she's even supposed to be protecting. Put me in a wig, we'd look very similar. In this movie, we ask questions such as, why didn't she just shoot that guy from top of the wall? Then you could have stayed on the wall and shot the other people with swords immediately afterwards. If we're going to have a movie about medieval fighting, please hire a consultant. And this story is written by Tasha Ho, who despite featuring in Variety's 10 screenwriters to watch for 2023, was also known for creating the animated version of Tomb Raider. That would be Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft, which was renowned for being obsessed with identity, switching lots of the characters' personalities and who they're attracted to. You knew it was bad when The Guardian loved it. Goodbye cartoon breasts. Hello, sweat stains. The feminist reinvention of Tomb Raider. There is an ongoing trend of stripping them of anything that a man might actually like, and instead just staining them to give the false impression that they're not actually a man. Finally, Lara Croft no longer looks like a strong wind would knock her over. Because it's a man. It's always the funny angle when they modernize these characters. Because they symbolized all male interests. They had a feminine woman, but she was also engaging in the masculine realm of violence and aggression. Physical combat. What you do when you strip them of the femininity in this scenario is you're saying that's pathetic, that's pointless. The only thing that matters in life is the male-dominated areas. You know, the areas they can't do. That's why it's a fantasy. So you end up, rather than empowering anyone, you strip them of any femininity, anything that the female fans of the franchise can actually like, impersonate, aspire to. Say, the only way you could be strong is to be a bloke. You essentially demean them by stripping them of their natural power. And they know they do. That's why they have to bring up gross stuff such as sweat stains and pretend it's an advantage. Don't I look like a dog? It's awesome. The writer even says adapting iconic characters or IP makes the writing of it easier. That it's exciting just to take part in their journey and try to tell that fun story in a way that it would appeal to me as a fan. That Red Sonja isn't about you. Red Sonja is a character for blokes. This would be like me writing the Materialists and going, you know, I just think that this show should be made for me as a fan. I actually think that rather than a romance story, they should just start hacking each other to death. It's like, yes, I know, it's a romance story. But have you ever considered if we just sent them into a war zone? I don't care if you want to tell a story about a man having high operations. I want him to join a SWAT team, defuse a bomb, and save hostages. This is why you never, ever have anyone in the creative team who is not the target demographic, because they will write it for them when they're irrelevant and don't matter. And so because the franchise isn't made for them, they have to change it to make it so. The character offers a unique opportunity to use the fantasy genre to explore human stories. You know what human stories she means by that. It gives you this great vehicle platform. I've got a big propaganda train I can drive through society for telling the big themes about human nature. She promises stories about great female friendship and a portrait of how women uniquely survive out in the world. The character for men, love. They don't care about female friendship. They want her to be hot and slaughter people brutally while being hot. That's the point of the character.
This signaled the end of an era. Pity, because I lived for it.
But because she doesn't understand that, her attempt to explore deeper themes will simply lead her to explore themes that she's interested in, which are shallow as a duck's backside. Movie, you will no doubt get the same feminist themes, the same feminist reinvention that the writer gave to Tomb Raider. Because it's not animation, they couldn't just put makeup on a man and pretend it was a woman. So as this won't be the Red Sonja star as you quite remember her, they will give her things like her waist being more realistic proportioned, and those impossibly perky, oh so pixelated chest will have been deflated to a size that somewhere fits within the realm of an ironing board. What they can't do is what they did in animation, though, where they gave her male shoulders and arms. This defeats the entire point of the character when you look at her as like, could you even lift that sword if it was made from actual metal? Well, they do attempt to imitate the costume as it is in the comics. It's very much the 2025 tinnitus version of the clothing. The safe horny, we've utterly stripped it of anything that might actually be for the male gaze, that actually gets people to buy a ticket at the cinema. To the point where the clothing is so oversized that maybe you need to go for a refitting for that, love, because your wardrobe people don't seem to know what they're doing. That's made for someone with many sizes larger, love. I mean, the Mary Sue is cheering this on as a long-time fan of the character, but even in the comic books, I felt uncomfortable with certain stories surrounding Sonya. I don't want to think about what they might look like on the big screen. I might have to sit near someone with testosterone. That would be a fate worse than death. The funny part is, she even recounts how she fell out of love with the character. That I used to enjoy reading her comic books, but felt many of her storylines didn't feel good to read anymore. If they ever did. It's essentially, oh, I liked all of these things, but then I joined a cult, and they changed how I perceived the world. In fact, I only liked Red Sonja when they rebooted it with the wonderful Gail Simone writing them. I can't imagine why Gail Simone would feel insecure around someone like Red Sonja. Her original origin story depicted Sonya as a helpless female. When her village was invaded, her family killed, she tried to defend herself, but couldn't even lift her brother's sword. That was realistic then. The invaders took her and left her for dead, and a warrior goddess gave her the strength to defend herself and seek revenge, although she could only get with a guy who bested her in combat, which seemed a little bit dodgy to me. I mean, nowadays, that just sounds like a dark romance story. But also, it more means that she's looking for someone who's superior to her, and therefore, if they're a better warrior, that means she will go with them. Yes, strangely, she doesn't want to date down. I don't. Then Simone comes along, completely changes the story to make it unbelievable, and turns her into a slag. Empowerment! Now, while Bassett has said she wants to keep gender politics out of the movie, really, because they're in the trailer.
You and all of your kind are relics from the past. I and the future. Very, very feisty.
Instead, she wants Sonya's journey to be an allegory of existential questions around the survival of the species in the face of the weather.
Did you take a stupid pill with your breakfast this morning, Admiral?
Even the Mary Sue doesn't want to watch this because it sounds nothing like Sonya. However, they think it's good that they're not tackling the obvious discussions about dangly bits, because Bassett, so Bassett, that used to be a bloke, doesn't actually appeal to the orthodoxy that Mary Sue likes, and that makes them pissed. Mammalian biology is divided into male and female. It just is. Mention any of the made-up neutral terms, Bassett rolls his eyes. No, stances like these will disturb some. I have friends who've been much upset by what I've said publicly, but I have no doubt about the biology of it. It's nonsensical. It's like watching a woman support misogynistic ideas so that a certain type of man will find them interesting. Oh, the horror. They disagree with me so they can have a family and kids. What an arse. I guess it's a good thing that Bassett won't be tackling Sonya's nuanced gender storyline. Nuanced. I'm hot and hit people in the face with a sword, since I don't think they'd execute them correctly. Hopefully, we'll get a decent Red Sonja movie. This won't be it. This is a movie where everyone looked at it and went, oh. You're gonna try and appeal to the Mary Sue by how you've made the character look. They don't like you anyway. You may as well have made it for blokes. At least it would have been inside your wheelhouse. Because even the creators of this movie do not have a lot of confidence in it. It has exactly a 2-week cinema window. Releases in theaters on the 15th, streaming on the 29th. Makes you wonder how many screens it'll even be in if it's only there for 2 weeks. The actress herself has even come out and slammed the property for being made with a very male gaze orientation. Says the new film is very woman empowered. Why? The reason why it was made for men, because men were the ones that were reading it. I know in 2025, as you have employed a load of lunatics with 5 IQ who have no business acumen, they can't understand the concept of a target demographic. They can only write things for them because they can't abstract and understand that other people exist in the world. So why are you hiring them then? The moment this sentence comes, oh sorry, but we're hiring someone else now, sorry. You could go, it was made for a very male gaze orientation. And that's a good thing. But no, this one is about women empowerment, which she loved about the script. It's an unbelievable fantasy. Oh no, Tasha Ho also wrote The Witcher Blood Origin. I have a whole series of reviews about what a mess that was.
The peace treaty had allowed Valor to turn war-hungry mages and generals against their monarchies.
How? You've essentially said that the war-hungry generals made peace with each other in order to stop a peace treaty because they didn't want peace and they ended up with peace anyway. You can't even keep track of your own plot events. I actually forgot that series existed. It was so bad until I saw it written down. I have no interest in a fictional woman that uses being taken as an engine of motivation. It's not a strong motivation. She's just a human being in the world of femininity. Does seem like quite a strong motivation. This is why for a man, fridging his wife is the strongest motivation you can have. Revenge, or in this case, enacting glorious justice upon evil, is one of the strongest motivators and what gives you the soul, the core of your movie. It's what gives them the emotional drive. People's inability or being scared to just use that as a motivation is why so many pieces of modern entertainment are just there. Why it doesn't make you feel anything. Oh great, you fought this guy, yeah, but why did you do it though? It's the difference between punching a guy in the face and punching a guy in the face because he's about to invade your entire city, wipe out your family, after he just insulted your king. It is the motivation of why the actions are happening which matters.
Big sweaty men killing each other and dying for honor, tradition, glory, and their oath to their country and to their faction and to their allegiance to their king.
There isn't a world that exists where Red Sonja isn't for the male gaze. It's the only reason the character exists. Behold, your Amazonian warrior, who this time doesn't have supernatural powers. This reboot will subvert the original's male gaze trope. We made her a dog. This is something where it doesn't actually matter how much you say it's a darker take when you've stripped it of what the core of the source material is. When you've stripped it of the reason for it existing. Or the reason for the character doing what she does. It's no surprise that this can't work in 2025, where their entire attitude about business is broken. They clearly looked at this and went, well, you know, it's got a female main character. That means we've got to have women created. No, it's the other way around. You have the target demographic make the thing because they are the audience and they know what they want. This was a movie that had multiple 4 starts, 9 scripts, 4 directors, 2 of them which were embroidered in #MeAndWell scandals, which if anything would have just given them more of a connection to the source material. With a budget somewhere in the mid-teens, about $50 to $16 million then, the character has been around for more than 70 years, because men still like hot women. It's not because this is a deep architect about female friendship and the weather that's kept it around for 70 years. Choose a blank canvas, Bassett says. The one constant was the chainmail bikini that helped Sonya earn the title of sexiest woman in comics. Never know that from the trailer though, would you?
You can have this and these.
And that protects.
Nothing. The crowd will love it.
I mean, I loved it, said Bassett. And they're keeping the chainmail bikini, except now it's so enlarged, it's basically a t-shirt. Don't worry, love, you could cut that thing in half, you'd still be safe. She's a beautiful, feisty, tough, committed young woman who people are going to want to watch. Red Sonja is a woman alone in the world, trying to survive a crazy environment. Then apparently they realized they were in the wrong body when they watched The Exorcist. It was quite a formative experience. I have to be honest, I don't know what's happening anymore. This interview has gone entirely off the rails of Red Sonja, and I feel quite disturbed myself. But then they hit on the problem of Red Sonja itself. When telling a story about a female hero imprisoned by misogynistic portrayals for decades, that's why you don't do it. You just make her hot and for men. Doesn't matter what your personal opinion of them is, because you're not the target audience. How do you make a movie about a powerful woman that has nothing to do with gender? It's an oxymoron, right? That's why we had to make it about the weather. The problem this movie seems to have is it doesn't know who it's for. And it employs contradictory people. Rather than just making it for blokes like the source material was, which could have actually been successful, instead, they had to ignore that. They didn't like that. We can't do that. We have to strip it of all that. But then, The movie has no reason to exist. The other way you could do it is, well, we're gonna go and make it about activism, which would make sense with the writer that they've got. But the director doesn't want to do that either. So all you're left with is a hollow shell of a character who has literally no reason to exist, isn't aimed at anybody, and so you had to make it about weather. This is gonna struggle to make mid-teens back in a budget. The actor's wrong, the scriptwriter's wrong, and the director says the right things but has no idea who the target audience is. And with a character like Red Sonja, you should have been able to sell this visually alone, because men are very visual creatures. And if you just done a Red Sonja version of something like Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider, you had someone who's the modern equivalent of Angelina Jolie in the original outfit, just slaughtering people. People would have gone to see that movie. But the only way that movie was going to get made is if you actually allowed masculinity into the creative process, which seems to be the thing systemically erased from this production, and Hollywood in general. When it comes to Red Sonja, this is a disaster. They caused themselves, and anyone could have called this just by looking at the creative team alone. And with a 2-week theatre window, even they know what they've done. And yet, will that lead to No. But it doesn't matter if they know the men don't like it, because they never wanted to give those men what they wanted in the first place. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe, more videos in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.